If you write a book, it will not make you money, but it will get you clients, and there is a massive difference. So let's talk about how to write a book that becomes a client acquisition machine and not just a vanity project that only your mom's gonna be proud of. So I've implemented this in multiple different businesses, and it has generated millions of dollars in client revenue, meaning clients coming to us from these books, but not millions of dollars in book revenue. And that's the difference. We're not trying to be professional authors. We're trying to be professional entrepreneurs who publish a book. So if you are an entrepreneur who is interested or thought, hey, maybe I do want to publish a book, and especially if that book can get me more business, this is going to be the video for you. Because look, most entrepreneurs are the dogs chasing squirrels out there. They open up YouTube, they open up Instagram, they're after a new mini chat strategy, they're trying podcast guesting, podcasting, all these different things. They're jumping from marketing strategy to marketing strategy. But at the end of the day, how about we use a marketing strategy that has been in place for thousands of years and it's just worked? It's called a book. So how do you actually do it? How do you get a book self-published that can generate clients? I'm gonna walk you through it step by step. I call it the authority system, and there are 5 parts. So let's dive in. Okay, so part 1 is the actual writing of the book. So let's talk about it, because I'll be honest, back in the day when I would talk about this strategy with entrepreneurs, even though I've been doing it for a decade, most entrepreneurs I'd look in the eye and be like, you're probably not a good fit for this. You don't have the discipline, maybe you don't have the ideas, whatever. But with Claude, with ChatGPT, with Gemini, it's never been easier to write a book. And before you pull the ethics police on me real quick, most entrepreneurs and celebrities use a ghostwriter to write a book, meaning they go get interviewed by a ghostwriter for a few hours, a few days, a few weeks, whatever it takes to get their story and their systems and their frameworks, and then that ghostwriter then writes the book for them, and then they can still publish it under their name. And so you can do the same thing here, but now you don't need the ghostwriter, you can utilize ChatGPT. So first thing you're gonna do, you're gonna use AI. And what you're gonna do when you go to AI and you prompt AI, you are going to make sure that you outline the book and you bring your own stories. You don't tell ChatGPT, go write this book. And if you want any more information on this, click the link in my bio. There's a 128-page playbook on how to implement this system amongst many others for your client acquisition machine. And this will go into more detail on exactly how to get it done. Ultimately, you are going to tell AI, hey, here's my outline, here are my stories, here's what I want to write. And then you are going to let AI pull the information out of you. You're not going to tell AI to go do this thing. Don't tell AI to go write a 2,000 or 3,000 word book for you. It'll be AI slop, it'll be AI crap. And ultimately, you may accomplish writing a book if you do that, but you're not going to do what we're trying to achieve, which is get clients from the book, which brings me to my next part of writing the book. It has to be focused. We are not writing a memoir. This is not your life story. This is not your biography. Unless you're Elon Musk trying to get to Mars, no one actually cares all that much about your story. They care about their story and where you fit into that story, and you are providing a solution. So you write your book for one specific person. It solves one specific problem with one specific solution. I'm working on my 3rd book right now called Boring Ops, Bigger Life. Again, you can get the free copy right now. But this book is very specific. It helps bottlenecked entrepreneurs implement an operating system so they can live a bigger, more time freedom based life. That's what we're trying to solve. So you need to be very specific about the book you write. This is not your memoir. This is not where you dive in and tell every story about your childhood. This is a very specific book for a very specific person with a very specific solution. After we got that out of the way, there are a lot of different resources you can dive into. I'm not getting into the tactics of how to write a book or how to publish that book, but some resources that you may want to check out. Kindle publishing through Amazon, and then also Ingram Spark are great resources if you want to dive more into self-publishing your book. Now, the second thing after you have written the book, which I know that's the biggest part, but honestly, you can do this with AI and making it focused, you are now going to price the book. So Amazon's going to give you a price, Ingram Spark's going to give you a price, and you want to price this as low as you possibly can. You want it to be at the impulse buy level for most entrepreneurs or whoever your client is. For whoever's out there, you want it to be the lowest impulse buy possible, which is typically going to be in the $5 to $10 range, okay? And that you're going to go as low as possible. When you sell this book, it's basically a wash. If someone pays me $5 for this book, it costs me at least that much in shipping and handling plus the cost of the book to get it to them. I want it to be at a break-even level so they can impulse buy this thing and I can ship out as many as possible. We are playing the volume game here, even if you have a high-ticket offer. So after you have the pricing correct, now we can actually get to the funnel. So the funnel is pretty simple, 2-step funnel. I'm going to draw it this way. So we have the book we're selling for $5, and then the upsell, very important, you want it to be $30 to $50. So let's talk about what we're selling in the upsell portion, because this is very important. So you have the book, it's solving a very specific problem. So let's say I was writing a book for runners on how to run faster, $5 book, and I'm targeting runners. My upsell needs to be something that makes a lot of sense. If I'm writing a book for runners, I'm obviously not going to say, hey, my upsell should probably be about how to grow a business or something else I'm an expert at. No, I need a runner's nutrition plan or a runner's mobility plan or something very specific that's the next logical step within them buying the book to the next thing. And then you can give a discount, whatever the case may be. It's going to be the $30 to $50 range for the upsell. And now let's talk about why, because we're going to throw ads into this that are going to go right here. And what we are trying to create when we're running traffic is going to be a self-liquidating funnel. So a self-liquidating funnel means whatever I make from here pays for my traffic, okay? So if I have 2 people come in here, say I start the funnel today at $25 a day. Person 1 comes in, they buy the $5 book, they don't buy the upsell. Now they're just on my email list. I'm shipping them a book. Great, they're getting a book. Awesome. But I'm making absolutely no money from that. It's really, truly a wash. To be honest, I'm losing money because of the ads. I'm spending $25 a day. Now, person 2 in the same day comes in, they buy the $5 book, and then they buy my $50 upsell. Awesome. Now, I am actually profitable in this campaign because the book's a wash. They paid for that. I broke even on that. Person 1 didn't buy anything here, but then person 2 bought it. I spent $25 a day in that traffic. I have $25 left over in profit. Now, it's not going to work out that clean, but that's ultimately what we're looking for. Now, I can scale this up to $50 a day, and I'm going to keep going as it is a self-liquidating offer, right? So the traffic comes in through the book funnel. The upsell pays for all of my traffic. My traffic then becomes free. Once you achieve free traffic, you can scale as big as you want. And I know the fear most every entrepreneur out there has when they're running traffic. They are scared to scale. They are scared to spend money. And I get it. Spending money on marketing is an investment, but a lot of people get scared when they actually pull a trigger because sometimes the lifetime value has to make up for your ad spend, or you have to wait several months to see the results. Not with a self-liquidating book funnel. You can be profitable or at least break even and pay for all that traffic on day 1 immediately. And then you can just keep scaling day after day after day. But we're not trying to make money here. Still, people are like, wait, what? We're selling a book and then we're selling an upsell and we're still not trying to make money? No, I don't want to profit. In my example, I got some profit, but I'd immediately take that profit, sink it back into ads for the next day to scale my campaign. So when I'm going up, I'm just going through this flywheel over and over again. How much can I spend before I hit a limit in which it's saturated or I can't get any more customers? Okay, so that is step 4, is running the traffic. So step 1, we have the book. Step 2 is pricing. Step 3 is going to build the upsell funnel. And then step 4 is the flywheel of traffic. Now, the 5th step is ultimately how we are going to sell our high ticket, let's just say $2,000 plus offer. And here's the most important part that everyone misses when they run a book funnel. They think selling the book here or selling the upsell is the most important part, or shipping the book is the most important part. You know what the actual most important part of a book funnel is? Someone consuming the freaking book. You wrote this book. They have to read it. You wrote a very specific book for a very specific person that solves a very specific problem with a very specific solution. If they don't read the book and they don't consume it, you're screwed. You're not going to make any money. You're not going to get to the high ticket offer portion. So in order for them to go through this funnel, they probably gave you name, email address, and phone number. What you're going to do, track like a hawk. When they get their book, they begin what we call a consumption series. This is done typically through email marketing. It can also be done through text. It is a follow-up system that gets people to actually consume the content and alerts you that people are actually consuming the content. And so as they go through it, they're consuming the book, they're consuming the pages. That's all you're trying to do. That is the next step in this funnel, is get people to consume with a consumption series. And then after they've consumed it, you are ready to start making that offer. Then you can start to pitch people on the typical sales process we all know. We're going to get people on a sales call. We're going to close them. we're going to get them massive results. But here's the deal, something you will never experience before until you really truly understand a self-published book implementation as a client acquisition strategy. These are going to be the easiest sales calls you have ever had if they went through this entire process and they actually consumed the book, okay? If they actually consumed the book, they are going to be fully bought in. You're hopping on 15, 20, 30-minute sales conversations because they're already pre-sold. They know, like, and trust you because you just read a whole damn book about your process and everything that you're about. They are ready to go. They want to work with you when they're hopping on these calls. The easiest sales calls that you will ever do is after someone has actually consumed your book. So don't forget the most important part, selling this offer, no, the consumption series, making sure actually someone consumes your offer before you pitch it. If you do that, you will be swimming in clients, so many that you won't know what to do with. All right, you now have the full authority system broken down for you so you can write a book that actually gets you clients. But let's be honest, you're never actually going to do this if you don't start a plan. So what you're going to do next is you're going to watch my video breaking down the 1330 system. This is a productivity system so you can get more shit done, okay? This will walk you through how to put this in your process, how to get it done in 90 days or less. So if you watch the next video on my 1330 system, you'll be able to implement this in record time so you can write a book and get more clients.